Hi everyone! Today's how-to flute tutorial is going to be on vibrato and how we can use vibrato to help color our sound. I love teaching vibrato because I think it's an excellent tool to help bring your music to that next level. I'm a firm believer that anybody can learn how to play with vibrato and can learn how to practice with vibrato regardless of what level they're at. However, I do encourage you to make sure that you have a strong fundamental sound and straight tone on your instrument before you try to play with vibrato. So what is vibrato? Well, vibrato is our variation in sound in regard to amplitude and frequency. So if we have a sound wave, if we were to play something with a straight tone, with no vibrato, it would be represented by a straight line, and it would sound like this. And it's kind of dead and flat, right? But if I manipulate my abdominal muscles and I contract them and I relax them to help change my air speed and my air pressure, I can put waves in the sound. So if I use my abdomen muscles and I make really big pulses, I can make really big fat waves in that sound, and it'll sound like this. And it would look similar to this. Now, if I want to use faster vibrato, if we need to use something faster, we have to use a smaller muscle group. So if I want to make really, really shimmery vibrato and I want to have fast squiggly lines be my sound waves, I need to use my laryngeal muscles right in here. And we're going to use what's called laryngeal vibrato. And all that means is that your abdomen muscles are still tight and contracted because we're making sure that we have a steady airstream going into our instrument. We're supporting our sound, right? But we're manipulating the air speed and the air pressure with these muscles right here. So if you want to, before you even play your instrument, you can try it by practicing and singing, by putting 2 fingers on your throat and sing any pitch of your choice and try to go ooh. And as you do that, you'll notice that these muscles kind of contract and relax a little bit. And your stomach muscles might contract and relax a little bit as well. The key is that nothing fully relaxes on its own, because if we fully relax those muscles, then our air pressure is going to drop and our pitch is going to drop. So everything goes from kind of tight to tighter to kind of tight to tighter to kind of tight to tighter. And so if I want to demonstrate that fast vibrato on my instrument, it's going to sound like this. So I'm a firm believer in that we should practice our vibrato with our repertoire, but also in our warm-ups. So after you've practiced your straight tone and your long tones for the day and you're feeling good and you're feeling warm, then maybe it's a good time to add in some vibrato exercises. I personally like to start with slower rhythms and I like to work my way up into faster rhythms, mostly because those slower rhythms are going to work with larger muscle groups, and then the faster rhythms are going to travel up through your body into your smaller muscle groups. I would recommend starting with quarter note pulses. You're just going to put your metronome on. I personally like to use the metronome marking of 60. And all you're going to do is you are going to try and play quarter note pulses on any pitch of your choice. And as I do that, my abdomen muscles are going wah, 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 wah. After quarter notes are really, really comfortable for you, move to eighth notes. So with eighth notes, we're moving a little bit faster, but it's still a slower rhythm, so your abdomen muscles are still doing most of the work. After you're comfortable with eighth notes, we move on to triplets. triplets, you might notice that the muscles that are being activated might start to travel up your body a little bit. And so rather than using your lower abdomen muscles, you might be engaging those abdomen muscles near the top. After you're comfortable with triplets, we move on to 16th notes. And so with the 16th notes, my abdomen muscles are contracted the whole time, but I am using my laryngeal vibrato. I'm using my throat muscles to help make that faster rhythm happen. So that way we can make those fast squiggly lines in our sound wave happen easily. If you want to take it one step further, you can try quintuplets, you can try sextuplets, you can try septuplets. It doesn't matter in terms of what's comfortable for you. If you're great at sevens, awesome. Do septuplets. If quintuplets are as far as you can go, that is totally fine. The key to this is we want to make sure that we are practicing our vibrato so that we're engaging all of our different muscle groups and that we know how to use our abdomen muscles versus our laryngeal muscles for when we need different vibrato speeds in our music. After you've practiced your set rhythms and you've gone through your slower rhythms and you've moved your way up through the faster rhythms, then you want to put it in a cycle. And you want to make sure that you can go from slow rhythms to fast rhythms, and then you want to reverse it where you can go from fast rhythms to slow rhythms. And then we would try and do the reverse, and we would do 5s to 4s to 3s to 2s to quarter notes. And as you're practicing these cycles, the key thing to focus on is which muscle groups are being engaged at what stage. After you've taken the time to practice your vibrato on its own and really make sure that you understand how to craft your vibrato and how to control your vibrato, the next step is to add it into your repertoire. One thing that I notice with a lot of people when they first start learning how to play with vibrato, or even students who learn how to play with vibrato without ever really being taught, maybe you heard your teacher, you heard someone else play with vibrato and you picked up on it naturally. A lot of times they have no control over how fast or how slow their vibrato is, and they just kind of use the same pulse the whole time. The problem with that is then your vibrato isn't coloring your sound at all, and you're not able to create different moods or different textures or portray different emotions or colors because you have that same wave happening the whole time. So it's really important to practice your vibrato in your music and to explore with it. Take your repertoire and make sure that you play it once without vibrato at all. Then incorporate it and intentionally leave vibrato out on some notes. Then focus on using faster vibrato on some notes or slower vibrato on some notes. Experiment with different frequencies, with different amplitudes, and different dynamics and see how that works. Once you've figured out what you really like, mark it in your music so that way it stays there. It's kind of like marking your breaths, right? We always know that we have to breathe, but if we don't mark the breath in that tricky spot, we're likely to forget to take the breath. Well, if we don't mark putting vibrato on that note, we might not put vibrato on that note in the moment. The last thing I want to do for you today is I would like to show you how vibrato can help color and change the emotion and the setting and the character of a piece overall. So I'm going to play just the opening of Catherine Hoover's Winter Spirits, and I'm going to do my best to play this once without vibrato at all, just with a straight tone. And then I'm going to play it a second time with vibrato to help provide direction, to help create shaping, to help add color, and to help create an overall mood for this opening. lot of life to it, right? Like it was just a bunch of notes that were kind of strung together. Even though I added dynamics in there, it wasn't that exciting. Now I'm going to add vibrato and make it more exciting. And hopefully you noticed that I didn't use the same speed of vibrato throughout the whole time. I didn't even have vibrato in every single note. I made sure that I used the vibrato to help show direction to different notes, to help emphasize different notes, and to help color different notes. You can do the same thing as well in your practice, and I really encourage you to mess around and figure out what you really, really like, and also figure out what you don't like. It's really important to practice both extremes. So take things too far. Figure out what doesn't sound good. Figure out what doesn't feel good. So that way you can bring it back, meet in the middle, and have a really comfortable, well-paced performance. If you would like access to any vibrato warm-up materials, please visit my website down below. And you will see the vibrato warm-up packet that I created this past summer. The packet is filled with tons of different warm-up exercises with different variations of what I demonstrated in this video. It goes through all different ranges on our instrument. It also provides different musical excerpts that you can start to incorporate your vibrato in as well. I hope you found this video engaging. I hope you found it exciting. Comment below with any questions that you might have. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram at Sammy Holloman Flute. Follow me on Facebook at Sammy Holloman Flute. And I'll see you all in 2 weeks on my next how to flute tutorial.